Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we'll be looking at 10 awesome games that will never get a sequel. For this list, we'll be looking at some fantastic games which, despite their quality, are highly unlikely to ever receive a follow-up.
You take nothing at face value. You keep digging and asking questions until you get to the truth. You got some sharp elbows on you, detective. I like that. Keep up the good work.
If there's a great game that you don't see getting another installment, please tell us in the comments. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. A spin-off of the Metal Gear franchise developed by Platinum Games, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance follows Raiden, a cyborg mercenary, as he slices and dices his way through robots, cyborgs, and soldiers. Platinum Games' typical over-the-top hack-and-slash gameplay goes together with Metal Gear's crazy storylines like peanut butter and chocolate. The combat is incredibly satisfying, and the action throughout is just so dang cool. However, despite the team behind it being up for another entry, the rights issues surrounding the Metal Gear franchise due to the split between Konami and creator Hideo Kojima make the chances for a sequel razor thin. Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. Based on the classic Chinese story Journey to the West, Enslaved: Odyssey to the West is a post-apocalyptic game in which the player character, Monkey, is forced to escort a woman home after they both survive a crash. Featuring a richly detailed world, fun combat, platforming, puzzle solving, and great performances, this game has a lot going for it. Unfortunately, its sales were poor, ensuring that a planned sequel never got to move forward. Some of us would be willing to go on odysseys of our own to ensure another one is made, but we fear that such a journey would only make monkeys out of us.
To get you home as fast as possible so that you can take this thing off my head and I can break your neck. Yeah, I know what you meant.
Singularity. An FPS game with time travel elements, Singularity sees a US Marine become embroiled in a plot that spans present day and the 1950s, involving a secret Soviet base and a time travel device. The retro-futuristic technology and storyline are fascinating, and the time manipulation mechanics help it stand out among the usual first-person shooter crowd, even if there are definite influences from other games. Unfortunately, behind-the-scenes development issues led to Singularity being singularly unadvertised, which led to mediocre sales. It would take some time travel shenanigans to put things right enough for a sequel to be greenlit. Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. Psychological horror isn't the first thing you think of when it comes to Nintendo games, and consumers certainly prove that with their wallets. Still, while most people didn't rush out to buy Eternal Darkness, those that did discovered a haunting experience with a unique mechanic in sanity effects, bizarre occurrences that changed the game's environments and made you question what's real. While Eternal Darkness has a devoted following, a sequel appears unlikely, as not only was it unsuccessful, but its developer Silicon Knights went bankrupt, and crowdfunding for a spiritual successor also failed. Unless our own sanity is failing, we don't expect a follow-up. Vanquish. Another Platinum Games collaboration, this time with Sega and with Shinji Mikami, one of the creators of Resident Evil at the helm. Vanquish has a lot going for it, and not just in development pedigree. It's a sci-fi third-person shooter with a mashup of gameplay elements that all come together in an oh-so-satisfying way. Its slide boost mechanic in particular feels like nothing else out there. Even its graphics have held up well a decade later. However, since it has been that long without any movement on another installment, our hopes for a sequel have been nearly, though not entirely, vanquished. LA Noire.
You're lying, Morgan. You were there. And you're talking out your ass, detective. How about you prove I was out at that rail yard?
Rockstar Games are known for quality titles like the Grand Theft Auto franchise, and LA Noire was another fantastic game published by the company, featuring then groundbreaking motion capture performances, as well as in-depth interrogation sequences that put you in the role of a detective. LA Noire was acclaimed and sold well upon release. However, although Rockstar put out the game, it was developed by Team Bondi, which is now defunct. Although Rockstar has discussed a sequel, even a decade later we still haven't seen anything materialize, despite VR versions being released. It doesn't take a master gumshoe to see that LA Noire won't be solving new mysteries anytime soon.
What's your relationship with Mrs. Patterson, Mr. Sabo?
We're friends. Good friends.
You expect me to believe that?
Blade Runner.
Lagging behind again?
Kuza didn't say anything about me working with a partner.
Oh, in a pig's ass, Slim. No, I'm following up on my own.
Let's continue with the detective theme. Based on the cult classic cyberpunk film of the same name, Blade Runner the game is set alongside its namesake and interweaves with it. Like the movie, you can play as one of the titular android hunters. Using point-and-click gameplay, you analyze evidence, interrogate suspects, and solve puzzles. Blade Runner the game, unlike the movie, was a success financially, and while its profit margin was low, interest has remained high, and an enhanced edition is planned for release, though issues have delayed it as of this writing. Even so, increased development and licensing costs have led to lead programmer Lewis Castle claiming that a sequel is unlikely, lost in time, like tears in rain.
Chief Bryant wants to talk to you. He says you're really ready now.
It never ends, does it?
You're a real Blade Runner now.
Metal Arms, glitch in the system. A somewhat obscure futuristic shooter, Metal Arms Glitch in the System follows a robot named Glitch as he tries to save his kind from enslavement. The game has a ton of great weapons to play around with, as well as a mechanic for controlling enemies and even a multiplayer mode. Metal Arms was well received, and even had a sequel planned due to good early reviews, but its sales were fairly low due to a lack of advertising. It's a shame, because the concept and gameplay have a lot of potential. Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars. Made in a collaboration between Square and Nintendo, Super Mario RPG set the benchmark for every RPG starring Mario that followed. The timed hit turn-based combat is the standard for Mario RPGs. The story and characters are simple but fun, the music is incredibly catchy, and its isometric style still looks great today. Sadly, while Super Mario RPG did influence later titles and is widely beloved, it never got a proper sequel. This is due in part to the complicated rights issues between Square Enix and Nintendo. However, director Yoshihiko Mikawa believes that he accomplished everything he wanted to do with the game and doesn't feel that we need to return to the world and characters. We can wish upon stars, though. Cave Story. One of the greatest indie games of all time, Cave Story is a retro Metroidvania platformer developed by one man. Full of memorable characters, fantastic music, great run-and-gun gameplay, and even multiple endings, Cave Story made everyone sit up and take notice of it. So much so that the game has been remastered, ported, and remade half a dozen times in the last 20 years. However, despite some additional content being added to these ports, Cave Story has not received a sequel. Although the creator is aware and flattered that people want another installment, he doesn't believe he can make a game that surpasses the original. Given how great it is, we can understand the sentiment, even if we wish it were otherwise.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.